Okay, so let's go over another type of annuity, which is called a fixed indexed annuity. Okay? Fixed indexed annuity. What does that mean? Well, thank you for asking. So fixed means it doesn't go down if the market goes down. It's fixed. Indexed means that the annuity is linked to a market index, for instance, the S&P 500. You might have heard of that index. The annuity, again, can provide payments if you want. Most of my clients don't use this type of annuity for that. They just want to live on what they make and not reduce their principal. If I could sum up this annuity in two phrases, here they are. Okay? So there's limited upside. No downside. Okay. We all want the investment that gives us all the upside and none of the downside. But folks, it does not exist. So the trade-off here, which is very reasonable, is limited growth. Maybe you can only make 5% or 6% or more or less or whatever, but you never lose your principal, which is really neat. Okay. Let me draw a little cheesy graph here. Forgive my drawing because it is not good. I get it. Don't make fun of me. So a little graph here. So this is the S&P 500. Okay. Here's your fixed index annuity here. So what's happening here, if you'll kind of see, the S&P 500 is going to go up and down. The market goes up and down. That's what happens. Okay. So when the market goes up, you don't make as much. See right here? You don't make as much. See right here too? You don't make as much. But see when the market goes down, like let's say this is when planes were hitting buildings and horrible things were taking place. When that takes place and the market does this number, you don't lose a dime. Okay? Again, market's going to go back up. Yeah, you'll probably go up, you know. You're not going to do all the market upside because you can't do that because remember it's limited. But again, the market goes down. What happens, Joseph? Well, you don't lose anything. Okay? So what does that mean for you? Basically, if you take out all the downside, in my opinion, you'd sleep a little better maybe. You know, maybe that's the thought there is you know you're going to make something. You can't lose what you work for. Really hard to work for. Okay? So anyways, most insurance companies will give you the upside in the following ways. You can get annual interest point to point. So they'll take a picture of the S&P 500 here. They'll take a picture a year later. Okay, depending upon the company, you can even have monthly interest point to point. So you set up your account on January 1, February 1, they'll take another picture, take another picture. You can make as much as 2%, okay? And that's 2% per month, by the way, I should say. So now market losses, again, you're not experiencing market losses here. So every contract's different, every company's different. So there's another crediting method which has no limit to the upside, which is exciting, right? Well, Joseph, you just said there's no existence like that, but there's a spread cost. Okay, so let me do that quick example for you. And guys, a lot of people do these in retirement, the fixed indexing. Again, you want some of the excitement of the market. You want that, but you don't want the downside. And of course, going back to this is that if you have made money and the market goes down, you can't lose what you've already made. And that's exciting. Okay. So here's an example of the no limit on the upside. Let's say there's a 10%er that you get. That's exciting, okay? But they might charge you 3%. Okay, so technically you make 7. This is the spread cost. This is called a spread. It's a 3% spread cost. Okay, and again, it depends on the company. which every company's different. Now, what happens, Joseph, if I don't make any money? Then they charge me the 3%. I'm not interested in this annuity, right? That's probably what you're saying. You're wrong, because if there is no gain, if the market goes down and they give you a 0, there's no spread cost. Okay, so it's only if there is an upside, which is interesting. It's just something to consider. Another example is some companies will give you 50% of the upside, okay, 47% or whatever it might be, okay? So 50%, here's an example. Market goes up 12%. 50% of that, 6%. And guys, go over this again. If you need to watch this again, please go over it. That's why I'm doing this for you, okay? So 50% of the 12, 6%. What if the market goes up 20, Joseph? Then you're going to make 10. What if the market goes up 16? Then you're going to go up 8. Okay? Those of you that are more of the gambling type, but you don't want to gamble with your money anymore because you realized I'm older in age and I don't have time to make this up, you could do an inverse performance point to point, which means you're basically betting against the market. So if the S&P happens to be at 2,000 and you think the market's going to go down, you can bet against it. And if at the end of that year, if the S&P is 1,999 points, it did actually go down, which means you might get, anywhere from 3 to 5%. So it's kind of neat. You can kind of bet if you want to. Okay. The best news, in my opinion, on these is that you can adjust your allocations each year. Okay. You don't have to stick to one thing and you're locked in forever. You can reallocate every year. Depending upon market conditions or situations, you can allocate, you maximize your upside. Okay, so if you think one thing's going to happen this year, or if your advisor, like myself, says, hey, this might be a really good idea because of this reason, and this is what might take place, then that's interesting, and that's something that we can do. We can reallocate every single year, which is important. Okay, how does the insurance company make money, Joseph? Well, thank you for asking. It's the exact same way on the multi-year guarantee annuities. Okay, the MYGAs, remember, MYGA. Sometimes the insurance company might make more than you. Sometimes they make less in other years. Okay, maybe when the market goes down and you don't make anything because they protected you on the downside. Okay? Quick example of that. In fact, I don't even have to draw an example. Let's say the market goes up 10% and you make 5, and the next year it goes down 10%. Who has the risk in that agreement? The financial company, the insurance company has the risk. You have 0 risk in that particular circumstance. So that's interesting, and that's something that you should consider. Quick warning, there's a lot of advisors out there that tell people, hey, ma'am, sir, you're going to make 6% guaranteed. And then when you take your income, you'll get 5%. Okay? I don't think people are doing you a disservice, and I don't want to say that this is what you've been told, but based on what I've seen and heard in my experience in this industry, which has been extensive, most of the time people are told this by a steak dinner giver or something along those lines. And again, there's nothing wrong with those folks who give those dinners and who try to meet new clients, but just be careful when you are hearing 6% and then 5% guarantees, because you need to look into the recommendation. You need to call the financial company. If you've already bought something like that and this concerns you, be happy to look at it with you. Maybe we can just call the insurance company together. Okay. Quick example of that. Let's say you start off with $100,000. Okay. And let's say that you were getting the 6%, right? Which you can get, but it's only on your income value, your income account value. So over time, you make another $100,000 towards your income account value. You have $200,000. Okay? Give or take. All right? So you start taking the income, and the insurance company will give you 5% of the income account value. Right? you're not getting 5% interest. They're just giving you back 5% of this sum here. Okay, please hear me on this. You will make interest if the allocation you choose makes money, but if it does not perform very well, or you don't lose anything because you own a fixed index annuity, for instance, then that 5% still comes out because it's lifetime income, and that could reduce your principal. That's all I'm saying. I've heard it many, many times, and a lot of people have misunderstood this. Not saying the advisor has told you something illegal or incomplete or that they're trying to do you a disservice. It's just I do want to make sure that you're not misunderstanding this, because if you're expecting to give all of this principal to your kids or grandkids or whoever you're wanting to give it to, you need to know that that's not the way that it works. So just make sure you look into it, okay? Now, if you add income riders to a fixed index annuity or a variable annuity or anything, then there is a cost to that, okay? The normal cost is from 1 to 1.5%. So if the company's giving you, for instance, 6% on your income account value, then they're deducting it from the amount you make on your index choices. For instance, if you make 5%, and they take the 1%, again, because they're having to plan for all of this and they're having to make money as well, then how much did you make? Maybe 4%. Okay? Just a friendly opinion. Live on your interest if you, again, just friendly. So if you could make 4% per year, let's say, on your fixed index annuity, don't reduce your principal if you don't want to. If that's not what your goal is, don't do that. In fact, that's what I recommend for my clients to do is, again, consider not reducing their principal on most or all of their assets and just live on what you make. It's so much easier in my opinion, and it's also it's nice to know you still have that money there. So look forward to it.